everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to do a quick unboxing and review of a product that I came across for the Cadillac XT5 and tell you what I've encountered with it and tell you what to expect. So this is a LED backlit emblem for the XT4, 5, and 6. This is something I came across on a website, floatingcentercaps.com. Now, those of you who have watched my channel before know that generally I steer away from products that are not OEM. For example, Cadillac has a lot of optional accessories that they make that you can put on the vehicle. I've done videos on some of them, like the sill for the cargo area, things like that. So those are generally the products I stick with. However, I have had good experience with some aftermarket products. I did those LED fog light bezels on my SRX. Those were great quality, even though they were, not made by Cadillac and they were drop shipping them from somewhere in China. So this is a product that I wished had existed for quite a while. And so what makes this product unique is that not only is it backlit, but it has an animation when it receives power. So it'll have a little animation when you start the car, similar to the upcoming Cadillac Lyriq. So as you saw in the opening sequence, this emblem looks fantastic at night in the dark. It looks really, really good. It's really neat. And they are just so close to having a great product here at a reasonable price. However, that's where things start to fall apart, in my opinion. At least with the copy that I received, this is not something that I would want to put on my XT5. Maybe I'm pickier than some of you. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments, but personally, the quality on this unit is poor, and I'm also going to warn you a little bit about what to expect with dealing with customer support from LEDcentercaps.com as well. But first, let's get to unboxing it and take a closer look at this product, because most of the images on their website are pretty low quality, so it was really hard to get an idea of what this thing looked like. I couldn't find any high resolution photos anywhere, so that's a lot of what this review is going to be about, is showing you guys, high resolution photos, 4K video of what this looks like, so you can determine if it meets your standards to put on your Cadillac. All right, so here's the box that came in. A little bit of damage on this side, but that doesn't have anything to do with my complaints. This came wrapped in a layer of bubble wrap and then wrapped in some of that gray plastic like you typically see when companies drop ship stuff from China. I want to point out before we go any further, though, if you go to their website and check out the About Us section, they are, touting how they have a U.S. based, that they're a U.S.-based company, that while their manufacturing is in China, they have a U.S.-based company responsible for sales. And they even tout in several areas that, that it would ship, that it may ship from China, but it may also ship from the U.S. If you go down to the bottom of their page, they list a U.S. address. So just keep all that in mind. So, I knew when I ordered this that there was a pretty good possibility that it was going to drop ship from China, and it did. And it took about a couple of weeks, which is fine. I'm not complaining about that. But just keep all the rest of this in mind when we get to the later in this video. As far as instructions go, to be fair, if you're ordering a product like this, you shouldn't need instructions, in my opinion. But if you're looking for instructions, this little sticker, which I've kind of already boogered up opening it up, is about all you're going to get. Dynamic emblem. The voltage is 12 volts and 3 watts. If the power supply is over 12 volt, it will burn the emblem light. And this said previously how to connect the wire of the dynamic emblem, plug, connect ACC box, black wire, connect grounding. So that's the instructions you get. So you know, and it's not rocket science, but just so you know. And that's not really a complaint, but an observation. All right, so here's what you get. Let's cover the good first. To me, this wiring harness, I really like. You know, I've ordered products before. Like I said, the LED bezels on my SRX, and it was just a couple wires coming off the back of it, and it was up to you to do whatever from there. So this is nice. This is well thought out. I'll give them props for that. So we've got this little harness that'll plug into the emblem, and it snaps in place. I'll show you that in a minute. And then on this end, they already have the little grounding attachment, and this is neat. This is one of these little cheater fuse things. I used this on my dash cam video. Basically, the gist of it is you plug it in to whatever circuit you want to tie into in your fuse box, and it provides fuse protection for what was already there, as well as a fuse for what you're adding in. And then additionally, there's another fuse under this cap here. So I mean, this is good. I mean, and again, I feel like this product is this close to being acceptable, but at least with the copy I got, it was not acceptable. And I would argue, even beyond the defects that I'm going to highlight here in a minute, just the overall quality, and I'll talk about this here in a minute, is something that I would be concerned about, you know, holding up long term. All right, so here is the emblem. There's the other side of that connector I was telling you about. Also comes with this this tape. Now, you know, this emblem has clips like the factory one has, and it's my understanding the factory one doesn't have tape. So, you know, unfortunately, because in the end I'm going to, you know, send this back to them, we're not going to do a video today about replacing the emblem, so we'll never know really if this is something that was needed, but they did include it, which I guess is better than not including it. And we've got what appears to just be saran wrap on here. That's fine, I guess. All right, so let's take a closer look at the back here. All right, so this is the back of the emblem. Here's the other side of the harness, and so there's not a whole lot going on here. It appears to be well sealed. We've got some sort of what appears to be hot glue covering all of these holes, and that's fine. That's probably fine. We've got what appears to be matching clips, like the ones that come on the car, at least from what I was looking at online. So, you know, unfortunately, we won't know how well this fits, but, you know, you can see that effort was made. So everything looks pretty good back here. Of course, this isn't what you're going to see every day. So here's the front. At a glance, I'm sure you're saying, well, that looks great. And, you know, at a glance it does, and, you know, probably from more than 5 or 6 feet, most people would not, you know, bat an eye at it. But my concerns, you know, number one, what I'm about to show you shouldn't be there anyway. And number two, you know, some of this to me comes down to, well, how well is this going to hold up long term with stuff hitting it in the road and everything else, little rocks flying up, stuff like that. So let's take a closer look at the top of this. So if you look close, we've got some sort of bubbling here in the plastic and the paint, and it's hard to see. Right there you can kind of start to see bubbling in the silver part, and there's a bubble there, and more bubbling over here. So yeah, we've got some sort of weird bubbles or chips or paint defects here, and this is all on the top edge, which of course is what you're going to see more than anything else. And these little chips or whatever they are kind of continue around the whole thing. So, you know, you can see them there. It's just hard to pick this up on camera fully, but you can see along this edge. So coming back to the paint quality, I mean, you know, just the way it's been laid down isn't real great. If you look closely, you can kind of see where the silver is kind of pulled up on the edges, and there's a little bit of unevenness, and that kind of goes all around. So, I mean, you know, there again, I could have probably looked past that if this looked like a factory finish and didn't look like rattle can paint, but just, you know, I could not find any high resolution images or close-ups of this, and I think we're starting to find out why. And here's some more on the edge. You can see just how it's, where it meets the black right here, how it's kind of just, the paint appears to kind of piled up on a kind of a rough edge would be my guess. So it's just not great. And there's a lot of this going on around the edge. I'm not really sure what that is, but kind of looks like some sort of manufacturing issue or chip or something in the clear part of the plastic. But yeah, that is just not something I like to see. There's another one of these chips in the clear part of the plastic, and and then you can hopefully make out a little bit better the bubbles here in the top of the silver part, and more along here. So that was my biggest beef with this, and you know, I reached out to them about returning it, and they did the whole thing of, well, we'll give you a partial refund, which I don't play that game. You know, either it works or it doesn't, you know, and you know, I would just rather return it for a refund at this point. Oh, there you go. You can kind of see a little bit better the worst of it here on the silver, which, you know, here on the camera it's harder to tell, but out in the sunlight, out in the daylight, it looks really pretty poor. Now, a secondary concern for me, and this has to do with not only, you know, how the product looks, but how the product is going to hold up, is this silver area here, to me, has the appearance of maybe just slightly better than rattle can spray paint. You guys know what I'm talking about. You paint something silver with, you know, with a rattle can, it just doesn't have the same look and depth and durability, obviously, as, you know, the grill that you got from the factory, where they've actually done some sort of a chroming process over the plastic. And, you know, it's definitely something that's possible, because those LED bezels that I had, fog light bezels I got on the SRX, they had the chromed plastic and they looked just as good from the factory. So when you hold this up to the grill, it looks even worse compared to the factory finish. Because again, I don't believe the factory finish is painted on there. It's some sort of a chroming process. And so while they've tried to replicate it, it looks pretty cheap against the real deal. And you know, my concern there is, you know, how is this going to hold up? I mean, it's definitely better than a finish that I could get by just taking a rattle can to something and throwing it on my car, but you know, it's not much better. So that's you know, that's a big concern of mine, is, you know, if things hit this off the road, you know, what's going to happen? You get little pieces of gravel and that kind of stuff, and that kind of stuff can damage a grill too, for sure. But you know, I just don't know about the long-term durability of something like this. So another thing that that I'll point out, you know, as we're comparing this to the original emblem, is just how much smaller the actual emblem is than what's on the car. So the overall assembly is the same size, but the border is so big. And part of that's done, I get it, for the light, but I mean, the border is just so large that it makes this part look a lot smaller than what's on the car. You know, I don't know if that's going to bother you or not, but it's definitely something worth mentioning. So again, I really wanted to like this product, but it's just not, you know, if you're gonna market something for something like a Cadillac or a BMW or some sort of other luxury vehicle, you've got to have the quality up to par. And like I said, I don't know if maybe, you know, to be fair, maybe they're not all like this. Maybe I just got a bad copy. I mean, this right here could definitely just be a bad copy. I'm not so sure about the silver part. That just seems like, you know, the way they're being manufactured. It just feels like a beta product, really. It feels like they're very close to having something nice in there, you know, to be fair, but they're just not quite there yet. So I've turned off one of my overhead lights, and I'm just going to show you you know, if you do decide to purchase this for yourself, exactly how this works. I know I showed some of the animation in the teaser in the opening, but basically the way it works is as soon as power is applied, you get the little animation, which is really cool. It's really good touch. So, you know, just hook up the neutral, which I'm just going to hold the wire on here. I have a little 12-volt power supply here on my bench, and then we're going to hook up the 12 volts. And that's what you get. So here we go again. So that's pretty neat. Might be hard to tell on camera, but you can sort of see the individual LEDs too. You know, yeah, there you go. So I don't know. And again, maybe I'm being picky. You guys can call me out in the comments. I'm sure some of you will. But, you know, this right here, they should have frosted this better or used some sort of better diffuser, and it's worse in person, but you can really see like the individual LEDs or strips of LEDs or however they manufacture that along here, and you can even see it through the surface, through these little areas of the emblem. So, you know, I mean, that I would have been okay with looking past, honestly, if the chips hadn't been in the plastic and you know, and the silver looked, you know, a little bit better quality. I could have probably looked past this and probably would have given it good reviews overall. But just something else to be aware of that you can't really tell from their little low-res promo videos that they have online. And they do make a few versions of this. They make one that I believe is completely black that doesn't have the silver. So maybe the quality on that would be more acceptable since you wouldn't have the silver thing going on. They also make one where the logo is colored in here. All right, so real briefly, let's talk a little bit about, I alluded to this earlier, but let's talk about the company behind this, LEDfloatingcentercaps.com. Or actually, it's floatingcentercaps.com is the URL. So initially, when I decided that this product didn't meet up to my expectations, you know, specifically that it came in with obvious defects. I mean, you can argue the silver thing is my opinion, and that's my problem, but it should not have these little chips and bubbles in the plastics. You know, I reached out to them via their website initially. I bought this directly from their website. I used PayPal to try to protect myself because, you know, never heard of the company. Reached out to them, and they were pretty responsive initially. I mean, I got a response back very quickly. I was surprised, and they asked for a photo, which I provided, and they said they would, you know, they would get back to me. Well, after that, didn't hear anything. So I thought, you know, in my experience, when communication breaks down with companies like this, you're better off to just go ahead and start documenting it through PayPal or eBay or whatever company you've used to purchase the product or pay for the product. So I went ahead and opened a case with PayPal, and magically they started responding again and offered the partial refund. Interestingly enough, they offered that outside of PayPal, which I did respond there and responded to the email and responded by PayPal that no, I would just like to return it for a full refund. And I asked them to provide a return shipping label. So, you know, that's where it started going downhill. They eventually did respond, but they wanted me to ship it to a Chinese address, or to an address in China, rather. So the other part of it was that they kind of sent the reply twice with two addresses that were similar but not exactly the same, so I was getting a little bit uncomfortable. And so I responded again, you know, please provide a shipping label, because, you know, here's the thing. To ship this back to China, I'm not sure exactly, because I haven't, you know, I'm still working this case with PayPal, so, you know, I haven't actually gone to the post office and let someone there hash out exactly the cheapest way to do it. But when I'm going to their website, USPS.com, and trying to just pretend I'm going to ship it in, I'm seeing stuff for even cheaper ends of the shipping being $60 to send this back. So that's almost half of what I paid for this product. And furthermore, if they're going to advertise as having, you know, being a U.S.-based company and having a U.S.-based support address, then, you know, you should either A, let me ship it back to the U.S. address, and I would be willing to pay for shipping on that, But if you want me to ship it all the way back to China, they should foot the bill for that. Furthermore, I did a little research on this address, and it appears to not be, there does not appear to be a company actually there. It appears to be some mail forwarding address, which I should have probably checked into that before I purchased the product. That might have been a red flag, but there again, I'll let you decide whether it's worth the risk. So in any case, they didn't respond to my request for a return label, so I escalated the case to PayPal. Then PayPal has basically, reached back out to them. They came back requesting that I ship it back again with yet another return address that was not even really a full address at all. It was just the name of some company in China. I had to translate it. It was in Chinese. So I just called PayPal up, and they have kind of thrown it back to the buyer and basically have said that, if they don't respond by a certain date, then then they'll decide in my favor. So, we'll see what happens there. I will probably pay to have it shipped back if it comes to that, even to China, just to make a point. Because like I said, I'm not going to put it on my vehicle. I'll probably end up losing some money in this deal, but that was the risk I took in ordering from this company. So, the question for this video is, should you buy this? And I would have to say no. If for nothing else, than the risk of waiting a couple of weeks and getting one with, that obviously has poor manufacturing process and that kind of thing. And I would also argue, just the overall fit and finish is not up to what I would want on my car. You may be different. You may say, hey, this looks great. But that's, I could not recommend purchasing this product, or frankly dealing with the company unless they can step up their customer service game a little bit. So sorry this wasn't the video that I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a video of not only a neat product to recommend, but also a tutorial on how to remove the front bumper and grille. So we're not going to be doing that today, although that will still happen at some point in the future, I'm sure. So I hope you guys will stay tuned and consider subscribing to the channel, and check out other videos I have on the XT5 here. Thanks for watching.